Hello, and today we're going to be discussing The Accountant Part 2. Now, this is a movie that I have been waiting a long time to see. The original movie came out approximately 8, 9 years ago, and it was a moderate hit at the box office. However, it came out at a really bad time. It didn't get a lot of leg room. It had a lot of stiff competition at the box office. And although it made some money, a lot of people were a little skeptical of how much it made. And now here we are, 8, 9 years later, and The Accountant 2 is finally coming to theaters. So, how's everybody doing today? I actually got to see The Accountant Part 2 on April 14th on tax day. That's right. They had a special sneak preview on tax day of this movie in select theaters, and it just happened to be that one of my closest movie theaters to here was one of the select theaters, which was awesome because I was super happy to actually be able to go see this movie. And I can tell you this: the original Accountant um, is one of the most underrated movies, I feel. It was kind of like John Wick before John Wick. It was, John Wick was out, and a lot of people looked at this as a John Wick clone or a John Wick ripoff, but it was actually something completely different. And for those of us that actually went to go see it in the movie theaters, we got a really great, entertaining movie. And I know that Ben Affleck, it's a love him or hate him type deal, which I never understood because, yeah, he's been in a lot of hokey stuff, but he is an incredibly good actor and he's an incredible director. I mean, the movies that he's done, I mean, The Town is one of my favorite movies. I think The Town is such an incredible movie. Um, Argo was a really good movie. I mean, it was a great movie. So the guy knows how to direct, the guy knows how to act, the guy knows how to write. I mean, he's written a lot of the movies he's been in, he's written a lot of the movies that he's directed. And so when the accountant came out, like again, Ben Affleck wasn't super liked. This was kind of looked at as like a possible John Wick ripoff. Like there were a lot of things working against it. It still made a pretty decent box office when it was in theaters, but it kind of went away. And everybody that was really a fan of it was hoping, oh man, I really hope we can get a sequel. And it took a long, long time to get a sequel. Unfortunately, you know, Ben Affleck has some personal issues, and then he got into the DC realm and he became Batman. And he got tied up with DC for a while, and this whole, his life went into a kind of a weird whirlwind. He got married, he got divorced, and at some point, um, the accountant started to catch a lot of fire on streaming. Like once it went on Netflix and other things, like this thing was like number one viewed movie week after week on Netflix, number one viewed movie on different streaming services. Like it really grew a fan base on streaming. And I hearken this back to like movies from the 80s and 90s, movies that didn't do that great in the theaters, but kind of became cult classics. Movies like Big Trouble in Little China, or even like the remake of The Thing. Yes, The Thing from 1980 was a remake from a movie from the 60s, and they've had another remake since then of The Thing. But I look at it as one of those movies that got a second wind. Back then it was on video, but now it's on streaming. And it did so well on streaming that somebody finally decided to pull the trigger and let's make an Accountant Part 2. And they went ahead and made the Accountant Part 2. And I got to tell you, I really love this movie. Is it a great movie? Like overall great? It's not. The plot of the movie is a little bit convoluted. Um, it's okay, but it's not great. Like the plot is not great. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things in the plot that I'm like, all right, plot's got a plot. Let's just kind of move on. But these two guys together made the movie worth every second of watching. Which is funny because you go to watch an action movie for the action. And I find myself enjoying the not action with just these two guys trying to relate to each other, trying to find that brotherly bond that they lost so many years ago. And the way the movie picks up is the movie picks up 8 years after the original events. And if you remember the original movie, at the end of the original movie, Ben Affleck's character tells John Bernthal's character, I'm going to find you. And then you find out that all these years have gone by and Ben Affleck's character never reached out to John Bernthal's character, even though he has his phone number and everything else. And John Bernthal is the younger brother, the little brother, that really wants his older brother's love and attention. It really comes down, it's a very simple plot. Like, these are two brothers, they're grown men, they just happen to be assassins. But realistically, this is a story of two brothers, and one brother that really wants to connect with another brother, and the other brother just doesn't have the ability to connect the way that a normal connection would be because of his Asperger's syndrome, because of his you know just his, the way that he's programmed, just doesn't have that emotional connection with a lot of people. I will say this: in this movie, Ben Affleck is less afflicted than in the first movie by his affliction. Like, it just seems like, going back and watching the first movie, it seems like the affliction was much stronger in the first movie, and now in the second movie, it's not as it's he still has the affliction, but it's not as impactful. Like, he's a little bit better at socialization. He's better at just overall. His state of being is a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but he's just not as impacted by his affliction. It's still there. You can still see it. He can't emotionally connect with his brother. He can't do all these things. But I see where in the movie they've made a couple of changes that do help the character develop a little bit more. Because if he really had a severe case of Asperger's and he was in the spectrum, it's very, very difficult to get around this, because this is a real affliction. It's a real thing. It's not something that's just made up for the movies. um but they did just the right amount of things. They just changed the character just enough so that he can have a meaningful back and forth with John Bernthal. And that's when the movie works, when it's these two guys on screen together doing what they do and trying to connect and just trying to find that brotherly bond while possibly killing some people. It's a great movie. It's really, really interesting how they were able to do that, and it actually, the second part also builds on the mythology of Ben Affleck's kind of like man in the chair. In the first movie, if you remember, a girl that he met at the institute was the actual girl that was helping him, because even though she has her own affliction, her mind works in an incredible way and she can do a lot of things. And in this movie, even her, they've toned down the level of her affliction. She still has the affliction, but now he has like a group of children that are all in this institute, that are all on the spectrum, but are also geniuses in their own way. And all these kids with his handler now are kind of like his guys in the chair and his girls in the chair. Like, they're the ones that are helping him find information on people, change traffic lights to green for like blocks on end. Look, I lived in California. I would give $1 million if I could call somebody and be like, "Hey, can you make every light green on La Cienega Boulevard until I get to the 405?" Like, that's amazing. So I really did enjoy like the way that they grew the character, grew the overall story, and did a little bit more world building. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the chemistry with these two guys here. And the chemistry between these two guys is amazing. I mean, they really carry the film. When there's not action happening, you're more invested in the non-action happening parts, because these two guys together are gold. I mean, it's not a comedy, but it's so funny how they try to interact. And there's some heartwarming moments as well where, like, Ben Affleck, you can almost tell he wants to connect. He just can't. Like, he just physically can't. Like, his mind just is not wired that way. He just sees things too much in black and white. and he's too methodical, and he can't understand like certain emotions. Like it's just not in him. And then John Bernthal is a man that has can understand those emotions, but he has cut himself off from emotions. But very early in the movie, you see that he really does want to have emotional connection with people, even though he's an assassin and a killer and everything else. He really is missing that emotional attachment. And there's a really funny scene early in the movie about him wanting to get a dog. And it kind of goes throughout the movie, and then certain things happen. You got to watch the movie. I think you'll truly enjoy it. It's a great time. Have a big popcorn, have a big soda, sit back, and just enjoy the ride. This is the kind of movies that I like to see in the theaters, and I hope that a lot of people go out and support it, because I would love to see an Accountant Part 3. I mean, I would love to see an Accountant series. I know Ben Affleck is too busy for that, but if I can get like a 7-part series of these two guys just hanging out and driving around the country, almost like an A team, where they go from town to town helping different towns with problems, but then they also have to deal with their own interpersonal relationship as brothers. Sign me up. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, you have the money, invest it, do it. But please go support the movie. Hopefully, we get an Accountant 3. Hopefully, you all enjoy it. If you do, if you've seen it, please comment below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you all again soon. Take care.